All right. This video, the topic is how to embrace differences and build bridges with others. This is a good one.
Welcome to our channel. I'm Rain, with over 20 years of experience as an NLP practitioner, light worker, and channeler through divine inspiration. Here to help you connect with your true self.
And I'm Mel, an empath, light worker, and connector, passionate about guiding you to set boundaries and thrive.
Together, we bring you weekly tools and insights to support your empath journey.
If you're ready to deepen your connection with self, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Let's dive in. So the first question I have, I'm going to jump right in. How can I stay open and curious instead of feeling defensive when someone has a different perspective or belief?
Okay, so curiosity is the highest level. So it's interesting because I'm hearing it's not spiritual awakening and all that stuff. Curiosity is actually one of the highest levels of beings you can actually be as a human being. If most human beings can just be curious rather than opinionated, or judgmental, everything on this planet would be completely different, because no one would call anyone wrong or right. There wouldn't be any judgment on anything, and there wouldn't be any fightings or battles, basically, with any human beings, because you become curious. Oh, it's so curious how they think. Like, this is really cool. It's so interesting. Like, I wonder what they're going through to have agreed with this opinion or have come up with this decision. Curiosity doesn't mean I have to be best friends with somebody. This is where we all get confused. Like, we have the whole notion of hate or love. There's nothing in between. So if I hate them, then I have a right to have an opinion and judge them. But if I love them, then I have to manipulate myself to have their opinion so that but then curiosity means I don't have to like them or hate them. They don't have to. If I love them tremendously or I hate them tremendously, all that doesn't matter. I'm just really curious about this human being, and whatever information they're going through, I'm just going to add it to me and see how I decipher it for myself. So when we become defensive, it's because a program is speaking. Interesting. So a program is speaking. Any kind of defense, there's a program being spoken. My program against your program. That's defense, right? I need to protect my program. It's my identity. It's what I've worked so hard to accomplish and accommodate and become. And now you are going against it, or you are making it wrong. And if my identity is wrong and what I believe, that means I am wrong, right? And none of us want to be wrong. So that's what happens when defense comes in. When you are curious, you become very indifferent to somebody else's belief system because you're only curious. It doesn't mean you're going to adopt it. It doesn't mean they can gaslight you because you're only curious. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So how do you, if it feels like to stay in that space of curiosity, but if you truly feel like, oh, the stuff they're saying is actually literally like hurting other people because it's not being inclusive, like they're wanting to close the doors and say like, oh no, like they're trying to close the doors for somebody else to just follow their heart or what they want, and they're creating a whole thing to like block that. Where do you put your energy with that of just being curious, like when it's like, ah, that's mean, that's cruel, I wouldn't want to be treated that way? What do you do in that space?
But then the game of curiosity actually becomes like more of like a state of contemplation. Like, it's interesting that there are humans out there that would do that. They would actually do that to somebody else. I'm so curious, like, what must they have gone through to want to hurt somebody else so intensely? Or they think what they're doing is not hurtful. Like, and then curious about how that makes you feel. Like, it's me really angry, you know? Why does it get me so angry? Because it's injustice. I love justice. Ooh, I love justice. It's wonderful. Okay, so that feels unjust to me. I love justice. Is there something I can do about this? That this spark me up to go and become a lawyer, or to go and do a riot, or to go and like what happens from this conversation? I'm curious why it's come my way, why it's part of my 3D. Is there an action I need to take about it? Is there a passion that's going to spark from this? Is there something that I need to work through me, right? Like it now becomes a curiosity as to how it provoked you to look more inwards and see like, is this pushing me somewhere else? Is this shifting my whole career path? Is this, is this reminding me of what my my husband of today is like? And this is just an alert system like, hey, you're actually married to that, right? How do you want to deal with it now? That person's triggering you here, or this is what your mom was like. Are you upset because of that? That's how curiosity works. So they don't become as relevant anymore, but what they've provoked in you becomes relevant. That's how the
Mm,
curiosity's played. Make sense?
okay. Yeah, and it keeps it, I feel like, like accountability of self, where it's self working. It's not like you're mad or angry at them. It's just it's all about you, right? Of like, okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to shift? What do I need to feel? Versus like, ooh, I'm mad at them. I don't like them, right? It's a different energy of just working with self because we can't control them anyway,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Something like it's more of like you're in a constant state of discovering more of you just because you want to have more peace. So the more you know of you, the more peaceful you become inside of you. So it's harder to get triggered. So when people trigger, you're like, oh, there's a pocket of energy that just got alerted. What is it here to do? I'm curious about this because I want peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I love that because that's the goal. It's just coming to inner peace. That's all we want. We want to feel peace in our body and just enjoy this short life that we have here. At least for me, it's as simple as that. Okay. All right. Another question. What practical steps can I take to create deeper understanding and connection with people who think or live differently than I do?
Okay, there are two perspectives. There's a perspective of when people think or live differently that we are like, wow, I wish I could have that or do that also. Right. So it's not always a negative. It's always like, oh my God, that's so amazing. I would like to have that too in my life. But then there's another perspective of, ew, I have to teach them that what they're doing is utterly wrong and how they think is really bad. So we're not going to talk about the one that you're like all excited about. We're going to talk about the one that's like, oh, why do they think so bad? Now, interestingly enough, everybody believes that they what their thoughts are correct. I wouldn't I wouldn't believe my thoughts are correct. I wouldn't share my opinion unless I truly believe the way I think, the way I act, what I perceive life to look like is my reality. So we're all running around believing that we are right. And we're all running around believing everyone else is wrong. So, for example, it, when, you know, when Canada gotten, when the natives of Canada were invaded by what are called Canadians today, to the Canadians who came to the country, to the, what are they called? The settlers, the natives were wrong, right? They thought wrong, they acted wrong, they lived differently, they weren't educated, they weren't dressed properly, they all that stuff, they weren't covered up right, they weren't acting right, they weren't living in good homes. So they were correct in their heads. Now for the natives, seeing those people come constrained by overclothing, being all intellectual, having to use forks and knives, and all this was crazy, right? How restricting. So if you think about it, in both identities, the other person was wrong. However, who's going to dominate? The white people or whoever came here dominated the natives and said, you have no education. Let's put your kids in education. You dress this way. It's wrong to dress this way. You talk to the stars. That's wrong. The way you talk to trees, blah, blah, blah. You're going to have to reform to us because we are correct, which caused a lot of hell. So that's what happens when we get stuck in the notion that we are right and someone else is wrong. But it's also a survival mechanism, right? It gives the humanity the right. Then, if I'm right, then I give myself the right to judge you and to reform you so I can be comfortable in what I believe to be right, which may be harmful for you because now I'm interfering in your personal earth journey, right? Which adds a bit of spice probably to the journey to have like somebody argue and which makes you really stand in your belief even more. You like will do everything to make sure your belief is right. So to be able to have practical steps for this is a lot of times it's always conscious awareness is like, I don't know what life they've lived. I don't know. I never lived in their body. I never saw through their eyes. I never tasted their pain. I never experienced their minute by minute what's going on in their thoughts and what they saw and perceived. I don't know. So whatever they've accumulated of thoughts, okay, and lifestyle is due to their program and what they've gone through, right? So I need to respect that about them, but it doesn't mean I have to agree to any degree. And respecting that doesn't mean, okay, if he's a serial killer, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm going to respect that he's a serial killer. It's fine. He has a thing for killing humans. But there's a part of me that'll be like, I don't know what led him to that. And I'm so grateful that whatever led him to that, that's not my life journey. Like, I don't know it's just a messed up brain. That's the neurons are just, God knows what that person's gone. I have the freedom to pray for them. And of course, everyone they've killed, of course, and be grateful that that is not what I chose for this life journey or whatever this life journey is. But I have my freedom to say, I disagree with this completely, right? And I cannot be friends with this person. I can never speak to this person. You have the freedom to completely cut off all pockets of energies that have anything to do with anyone who lives so differently that crosses your value system. Like it's very, very important to know where I can find other pockets of energy that think and act like me and live like me. I don't have to force somebody who doesn't think like me or act like me to become me, you know, because it's too depleting. It's basically the practical step is just walk away. That's as easy as it comes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Learn what energies you like to be around and which ones you don't. And rather than stay in the fight or try to convince or teach or whatever, it's just like, let them live. I want to live a different way. And our energies don't align and our conversations don't align. So I'll find other people that I align with and just, yeah, move out of that space. Okay. How do I navigate difficult conversations with loved ones when we strongly disagree on important topics?
Ooh, this is very interesting because you'll notice important topics usually, if you go into any group, they'll say, don't talk politics, don't talk religion, right? These are very heated conversations. So these are the ones that the topics you can't talk to loved ones. Of course, there's other topics. These are the main highlighted ones. And the reason for that, because these are identities. Your religion is an identity, and politics is an identity. Who do you believe in your belief system? Who's right and who's wrong? Who did the best? Who did the worst? What kind of world do you really want to be in? And religion is the same thing, right? And it's a core. It's so deep embedded in, like I'm seeing nerves, and it's like another nervous system coming in, like the nerves. It's the core, the core, the core, the core. Like if you have to rip off all other identities, these are the two that are the hardest to ever like leave behind, right? Or be neutral about. So, of course, it's the biggest arguments because every single person will have an opinion. And a lot of people's opinions fall back on what their parents believed, what their pre-parents believed. This is my belief system. If I let go of that, I don't belong to anything or anyone, which is humans' biggest fear, right? Is to be left behind, abandoned, and I don't belong. So when you have loved ones that you can strongly disagree on really important topics, religion, politics, right and wrong, those topics really have no place to live in a family dynamics. They cannot exist. Someone that brings up these topics knowing that it'll spark some kind of aggravation, dis-ease, uncomfort, okay, should go sit in timeout, basically, because they know, you know. And maybe that's the only mode of communication between family members. That's all they know, and that's the only way they know how to communicate is through these specific topics that really they feel heard and seen by having different opinions and rolling their eyes like, oh, I can't believe you don't get it. Like that might be the only mode of communication these family members have. And if they didn't talk about that, then there's nothing else to talk about. So that is what they know family to feel like. Right? They know family to have like my opinion, your opinion. I want to convince you of mine, but you did it. So if you can break that cycle where with family, I will talk about the shallowest things, the people I love the most that I know are in disagreement to my belief system in religion and in politics and in even anything, the abortion topic, the LGBT topic, the whatever you can call anything with two opinions, these topics you completely stay away from. Why? Because that is what you've learned what bonding feels like, where we can argue and we'll have a fight, but this is what family looks like. And you want to break that pattern within yourself so that you can have other topics that arise. If these topics can't arise with the ones that you love, um, then just keep it shallow and look for people that do align with the way you think and can argue a little bit, but have the same idea of a value system.
Okay. So really it's you just may like if it's family or people like that, the best thing to have healthy relationship is just a little bit more distance and then when you are with them, keep it more shallow. Because my thing is I like to go deep. I like to be real. I like to just be able to be open and vulnerable to talk about anything. I'm okay with having like, okay, sometimes it's just you don't want to talk about deep stuff all the time. That can get exhausting. But also it's kind of like I wouldn't want to go on a long family vacation with family because I would be bored in like after like 2 hours. So is it better to just have that distance and space and know like, okay, be around these people for a couple hours or try to be creative and come up with different topics to talk about or just let it be superficial, shallow for a couple hours, talk about the same kind of basic stuff and then go on and then hook up with your deeper friends.
Definitely, definitely. Um, Allow yourself to have many many different ways of expression. So with some people it's deep, with those you love who you love, but you have nothing in common. You are allowed to have a shallow you're allowed to love someone and have shallow conversations. It's not if I love someone, then we have to go deep together. You're allowed to love somebody. See, you're allowed to love someone and not like them. You can. It happens all the time. You love someone and you're doing your best to like them, and to like them, they have to think like you and act like you. So you try to reform them so you can, oh, now I love them and like them. But a lot of times you love people, you don't know why, but you really don't like them, but or you have nothing deep to talk about, but you just love them and you love them because they're family probably. So the best thing is shallow. And you know how exciting it is to be shallow? You know how taxing it is to always have to be deep, and introspective and this and that, and like, let's talk about the world and what's happening. And sometimes the best thing is to really have nothing of any relevance where the brain doesn't, how sometimes you just want to watch a Netflix show that is nothing. It's just nothing. It's nothingness. It's silly people acting silly, and you don't even want, like, how about a lot of us? Why not become those? Why not see that maybe those people that I love, that it's my break? I don't have to think too deeply and I don't have to feel too deeply. And I can just do that shallow stuff where I'm just there to have fun, and talk about the best meal I ate and how it tasted and what about cooking this way. And I drew this day, like anything other than that deep talks. I think we all need that.
Yeah. Okay. I love that. What a great perspective. What role does self-awareness play in embracing differences and how can I recognize my own biases?
everyone on the planet that you specifically will ever bump into or talk to or have in your life, part of who they are exists within you, right? So if they piss you off, is they piss you off because part of that exists within you. Either you're resisting that in you or you see it in you and you hate it, right? So everybody that exists in your world, part of them lives within you. So there is not much of a difference. However, their presence is allowing you to have more self awareness because if you're only slightly conscious to that truth, then you're open to self-awareness. You can be like, oh, what version of that person exists within me? Am I resisting it or am I accepting it or do I hate it? It's again self-reflection and self-awareness. So for example, so let's say you meet someone really angry and you get really pissed off internally. You're like, I can't stand angry people. Oh, I can't stand angry people. Go in. What do I have about anger in here? Right? Oh my God. I'm scared of ever getting angry myself. It's a bad thing. Mom used to get angry all the time. This person's triggering me with my mom. It's something I hate to do. And then you're like, can I give my freedom? Can I give myself the freedom to be angry? Like, why am I resisting it? That's the way to like kind of like under because it exists inside. There's anger, but you're like, you're never allowed to be angry. So when someone's angry, you're like, oh, never allowed to be angry. Oh, why am I doing that to the angry person? It must live in here and I must be doing this to myself. So there's a kind of like that's the easiest way to kind of try to figure it out. It's not that easy usually with emotions, but it's kind of the concept. Yeah.
Okay. How can I build bridges in relationships without sacrificing my own values and boundaries?
You can't ever sacrifice your own values and boundaries when you are really, really clear about your value system. When you have very clear values, for example, for me personally, since I was 9, I was always like, yeah, I'm easygoing. I do all this. But there was one thing, that no matter what, until this very day is such a hardcore value. And I've added a few new things, but your value is something that you don't care. No matter what happens, no one can talk you out of it. No one can convince you otherwise. So my value system is cheating, right? Any man who cheats, anyone who cheats, to me, that is like death, right? Like there's no way I would ever let any woman feel ever insecure in my presence, that there would be any possibility I would ever look at her partner like that. I would kill me first, right? And there's no amount, and I've had clients tell me, you're so intense with this, heal it. And I'm like, no, there's nothing to heal. There's nothing. Like that's what value. When you have them so clear, like there is no way in hell anyone's allowed to yell at me, for example, right? And it's such a, like, I don't have that value so intense, although I'd love to have it, right? Because I always give excuses. Well, maybe they're angry, right? But do you imagine if it was such a core value that the tone of voice, if it goes 2 notches up, I walk away and there's no convincing, no one can tell me, well, I had a hard day, that excuses for bad behavior. And it's such a concrete value system. There's no way you can sacrifice yourself because no amount of gaslighting can ever penetrate or convince you otherwise because you're refusing to hear any other thing. There's nothing else that's allowed. And
Mm.
that's what it feels like. There's such a strength, right? So maybe
Hmm.
it's time we all start to evaluate our values. And if we have a little bit of gaps of, you know what, sometimes people are allowed this, sometimes da 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 da, and just think, can I accept it upon myself? Do I respect someone? Can this be respectful? And go through all the nitty gritty little gaps that make you kind of easily gaslighted from it and strengthen it up and be like, I don't care what anyone, like, I have a friend, she's amazing, right? If someone just goes like rolls their eyes, it is done for her. Like, this isn't even a joke. And I admire it because there is no excuse. There's no, oh, maybe they did this for that, or maybe they have this, or they just had a bad day, or maybe that's their expression. There is no maybe. They roll their eyes. She's like, Really? Okay. And she walks away like there's nothing. It goes nowhere.
I
It's
love
done.
it.
And I think we all need to start really assessing ourselves in that way. And then you're never going to sacrifice anything. There is no self-sacrifice anymore.
Yeah. Okay. So are there other, oh, okay, what was I thinking? Oh, I had a question about this. So if somebody is, let's say someone, a parent, like, so you have the taboo topics that you know, okay, anytime these comes up, religion or politics or whatever, it's like, okay, we've learned like, okay, let's just not talk about it and then we have a good relationship. So if a parent brings something up and it's going into that politics or something and you're like, and they're saying something and it's you're listening, you listen, you're like, okay, there's no point saying anything. I don't want to go into a debate or whatever. But then they say something that you feel crosses a line where it's like, okay, now you're saying something that I know that's 100% a lie because there's you can fact check and there's proof and you're saying something that's hurting other people and I don't think you should share this with me or anybody else because it's really going to be hurtful to somebody else this lie. Like, is it worth saying something or is it just like, okay, let's just drop the topic, or is it worth, I guess, expressing and saying, speaking up, or just being quiet?
It's never worth taking the bait. It's never worth it because these are parents. So therefore, I am sure these conversations has happened before. This isn't a new person you're meeting and being like, let me see if I throw in like my opinion, would it change theirs? No, this is like it's always the way it is. So I found the easiest way to deal with parents in this paradigm because they are locked into that. That's what they'll talk about, right? And they keep repeating, and they're going to say something absolutely insane, maybe. And I've noticed the easiest way to do it, the minute it starts to go in and be like, I have to defend and I have to clear it up for them. What if I share this with the world? And then I'll start to believe the nonsense. That's a savior thing that's coming up. And there's no need to save or change. You've done it before and it hasn't changed anything. What you do is sometimes just making light and fun of things with parents specifically, right? Breaks down their barrier and they see how silly it is. It's like that, like whatever, they'll share something. I don't know, give me an example of a share and I'll show you like what it looks like.
Okay. So yeah, there was one from like a past president had said something years ago and she is like, "Oh, look at this video or whatever." And it was totally like someone had AI'd it or whatever and put it together. It was basically saying like the American people are stupid and, we need to take over as the government. And I was like, red flags were like, there's no way in hell that this president would have gotten away with this been all over the news. So then you go and you pull up the original video and you're like, oh no, here's the original one. And it gets sneaky because people can do this AI thing where it's like literally it's them talking. So like, anyways, but it was like, okay, no, here's the original. And she's like, whatever. I still like, she didn't even care. It was like, still didn't believe it. But it was a complete lie. And it was just like ridiculous. Like, there's no way that would ever be said. And anyway,
Because that's her only way of having a relationship with you, right? It's through this kind of thing, right? So how'd you deflate that? First of all, you're getting all like, oh my God, this is AI. Can't she see it? And just be like, she can't see it, right? She doesn't want to. This is her relationship to you. This is what it looks like. So she's having a conversation to her. It has to look like this with you because then you engage. And then she can finally feel like she's having a conversation with her daughter and there's something happening. There's action. What you can do is simply turn it into a joke. Be like, oh my God, mom, all Americans are stupid. It's true. It's true. It's true what the thing is saying. You can't believe he said that. And just like laugh at it, like instead of trying to correct the information, turn it into a joke, right? But not like in a sarcastic way, but in a funny way. Like it's like think of think of her as like a 5-year old. Would you sit her down and be like, okay, you're 5, but this is what I'm going to tell you. There's AI, and the AI is pretending, and this is the real one. And then she gets bored like a 5-year-old. Like, that wasn't fun. You showing me the real thing. Come on, let's just, come on, do the thing. Like, so you're going to do a different thing. You're going to just joke and like tickle her or be like, oh, mommy, you're so cute,
Believe in all the crazy stuff. Oh, that's
The
funny
funny
you do
stuff
that.
out there. I love it. There's so much stuff out there. If you find anything else, share it. It makes me laugh. Like lighten it up a little, like for you. And she'll just, the topic changes because she's not getting the relationship in this look. She can get a new relationship where she can actually laugh at herself at some point. But if she has to defend her right and defend her video like a 5-year-old, be like, no, you're ruining the game. You're ruining the game. You know?
This was a serious game. I want to play the serious game and the
Yeah.
argue game. And
Yes, exactly. That's how she bonds with you.
that's cute. I like that shift of like, you know what? Because I want to get in this place where I'm like, I don't want to take life this seriously. We have this short life, this blip in time. People get so worked up and mad about the littlest things. And it's just like, it's exhausting and it's silly and it's so much energy wasted in this like icky arguing fight energy with neighbors or coworkers or friends or family. And it's just like so much time is burned in this life with that. And that I just don't like that energy. So I like to have permission to shift it to like more playful or fun or funny and giving myself and be like, no, it's okay. Because part of me is like, no, this is serious. This is hurting somebody else. This is a lie about someone. So it's like I feel like it's my duty or I need to defend it and say, like, nope, and speak my truth. And then I justify it like, well, I'm speaking my truth. Good for me. But yet it's like, that's maybe not the time and the place to do that. Like,
It doesn't make you feel good. Speaking truth is supposed to happen when it makes you feel better, but it doesn't make you feel better because now you're like, mom again, and I don't want to see her next time, and she's going to show me stupid stuff, and I wish she would wake up, and it's just, blah. But the other way is like, oh my God, mom, I have another funny video. Look at this. Look what they're saying here. Yes, you want to play? Let's play. I'm not going to stop you anymore. Like it doesn't change her or her opinion ever. Like it
yeah.
hasn't ever. So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
All right, I like it. Okay, so wrapping up this video, I just want to see, are there any last minute, like, I like building bridges. So is there any other ways to build bridges in relationships when we have these differences of opinions?
Well, yeah, building bridges, making light of life, making light of others, making light of the thing because things never stay. The politicians come and go, concepts come and go. Milk was allowed, milk wasn't allowed. Now milk is allowed. Then milk wasn't allowed. Now milk is allowed. Like, who knows, So it's like sticking to like today's facts are, you know, is really irrelevant because the facts can change tomorrow. First, Pluto was a planet, and now Pluto isn't a planet anymore. An entire planet. People thought about it like, yeah, Pluto is a planet. How dare you? And then, like, it's not a planet, it's a dwarf planet. Huge arguments for what? Who cares? Like, years later, it stopped being a planet. Okay. So it's like everything changes and moves. So who cares to like, there's no truth to any reality. So building a bridge with anyone is really building a bridge with self to lighten up life a little bit for self. Like, who cares? Like, always the mantra is who cares? It's not like your mom or your dad or your husband or your kids are the president of a country where it really matters that you get the information through because they're not in charge of anything,
Yeah.
right? They're not going to
Yeah.
break or change anything.
Oh, that's true. I like that.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
tell a couple friends their lies, whatever.
Yeah. And their friends will believe it because they already believe it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. This was a beautiful video. Okay, well, we want to just wrap up this video and we want to tell you about something new and exciting, you guys. We have YouTube memberships for the first time. We're just getting those going. So you can be, if you want closer connection with us, if you want more videos, then we're already offering more connection, more channeling, like all these fun things. Check that out. So we have YouTube memberships. You just click the join now button next to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, hit that button, hit like. Um, and we also have a private Facebook group for empath women that want kind, respectful relationships and friendships and to be able to be authentic and real. So we have a private group right now. We're in the process of building an online platform. So until that's created, we have a private Facebook group to kind of get you on and start connecting that way. We just did a speed friending event, which was amazing, where women were able to connect with other women and get to know each other and build those relationships. So we're doing a lot of fun things to start bringing people together and connecting. Also, we love hearing your comments. We read every single one of them, rain comments to every single one of them. And sometimes we'll even do videos on them if she gets a lot of channeling insights from it. So, what is your key takeaway from this episode? Um, we want to hear that. So, give us your comment, your thoughts, where you're at on your journey. We'd love to hear. We also have a freebie that we want to offer you. You can get that in the description to help you with your week, with your day. So, go check that out. That's an amazing giveaway that we have for you for free. And if you love what you're getting from these videos and want to support what we're doing, and you had some, maybe some perspective shifts, and you want to donate back to what we're doing, we have set up an account. It's called Buy Me a Coffee, and we have a link in the description, and we call it a Buy Me a Cup of Love. So if you want to support us there, we would love that so we can keep giving you this valuable information. And thank you so much for being here. We'll see you on the next episode.